Welcome into a new episode of the Bobcast presented by the Bobcat Sports Network. Matt Ambrose here, and we will kick things off with the men's basketball team. And I'm sitting here with head coach Sean Brown. Coach, coming off a 1-1 week for your club, a win last Wednesday against Notre Dame, and then losing on the road at Urbana on Saturday. Games at Wheeling and West Liberty upcoming this week. Wheeling on Wednesday and West Liberty on Saturday. So just to start things off, let's look at the Notre Dame win first. Just your overall takeaways from the Notre Dame victory.
Well, the Notre Dame victory, I mean, it was back and forth kind of game. We got off to a slow start, really an extremely slow start, and we didn't seem to get our footing to the or start to get our footing until right around 2 minutes left in the first half, and then second half we kind of got rolling and got back on track, and it was nip and tuck from there, and we pulled out a tough, a close victory.
And when you look at the Urbana game, you guys kind of got behind early, started to chip away a little bit down the stretch. What did Urbana do in that game that gave you guys trouble?
Well, number one, Urbana was, they hit timely shots, and defensively, they were just a little more physical and a little more aggressive than we were. We complained quite a bit about calls during the game, which that's unnecessary and unacceptable. We preached to our guys at practice, play the game, just play the game, and everything else will work itself out. And there was a lot of chirping between our players and the officials. We our guys didn't feel like we got the feel like they got the short end of the stick as far as the officiating goes. And but that's it's neither here nor there. That's no excuse. And our that kind of got to our guys and got to our guys' psyche, and we got away from just playing the game. Second thing, we didn't pay attention to detail really well. There were certain strategies we had laid out for our players, and for whatever reason, we just wasn't focused enough to do what we needed to do defensively, to stop the other team. So, you know, unfortunately, our four-game win streak had to come to an end. But we go back to the drawing board and going to try to clean some of those things up.
Shining light, shining light this week for your team, Joe Adedeo. Two great games for him, 29 points on Wednesday in the victory over Notre Dame. Follow that up with 27 on Saturday at Urbana. What helped him pick up his play over these last two games?
Well, we've moved. Joe's been in and out of the lineup. We moved him to the bench early in the year, and he had some sparks off the bench, and then he worked his way back up into the starting lineup, and now we moved him back to the bench, and he's playing really well off the bench. We're a little short-handed on as far as guards, our guard play go. We got quite a few guys banged up, and a few not playing right now at the moment. But Joe's settling in. He's just settling in, and he's understanding more and more what we're asking of him, and he's been patient. He's been working with us, and he's trying to understand what we want, what we need from him, and I think he's getting a better understanding over the last maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
Another player that's really stepped up, Jamil Jones, got his first two starts of the season, played 73 of a possible 80 minutes over the two games last week, and some quality minutes coming from Jamil as well. What are you seeing from him in practice and just the work he's putting in off the court that gives you the confidence to put him in the starting lineup?
Well, Jamil has been he's been working his butt off the last 4 or 5 weeks, and it feels to us like he just kind of flipped the switch, and he's put it in another gear. I think he's now getting comfortable with the speed, not real comfortable with the strength, the Division II strength or the college strength that is, but he's getting a lot more comfortable with the speed of the game, and I think his confidence is rising because of that. Jamil has the skill set to possibly become an all-conference player one day. He's got to continue to work, keep putting in the work, get himself in tip-top shape. This spring and this summer, and we feel strongly that he could be a all-conference player. He's really cranked it up another notch.
Daniel Alexander, obviously your leading scorer, second in the conference in that category as well. But struggled a little bit from the floor against Urbana. And the two of us talked about this after the game on Saturday about kind of what they did defensively, Urbana, against Alexander in that game. But still able to get a double-double, 10 points, 11 rebounds for him. So what does it really say about Daniel's game that he struggles from the floor, but he's still able to have that kind of impact in ways other than scoring?
Well, it says that he's active, that engaged, he's in tune. We like to tell guys, don't let what you do offensively affect your overall game. And when you're missing shots, where else can you help us on the court? Daniel can help us assisting the ball. He can help us rebounding the ball, getting steals. Just little defensive stops. Daniel can help us in a lot of different ways, and he does. So the fact that he's missing shots, it never bothers me, because I know he's gonna make it up on the other end. We just need, we need better. We need to run better offense. We need to be more. We need to be more clean. We need to be more focused, and we need to execute our roles. Be more decisive when making decisions. So offensively, it'll come back. I mean, Daniel had a bad game, bad shooting game that is. But overall, he still blocked some shots. He had quite a few rebounds, as you just mentioned. Daniel played a solid floor game. Not mad at him for missing shots. Somebody else got to pick up the slack when Daniel's not scoring.
And late in that, or in the second half, I should say, in that Urbana game, you're down 19 at the half, but you cut it back to single digits during those final 20 minutes. And one of the ways that you got back into the game was putting on that full court press that has worked wonders for you really throughout this year. It's given opponents fits in numerous games so far this season. Is this kind of a game plan that or a scheme that you've thought about enacting throughout a game, or is this something that you really like to pull out only when you find yourself down and your team needs a spark?
Well, let's be clear, we're not West Liberty. They've been doing this for a long time, and they have 12 student athletes, 12 ball players who could play that way, and they're conditioned to play that way. They've been kind of bred to play that way, and again, they have 12 guys that can play that way. We don't have 12 guys that can play that way. I don't think we realistically have 7 guys that can play that way. So there's a certain amount of time, certain times that we can play like that. But then we gotta play real basketball, for what I call it. We gotta sit down, play really good half court, man-to-man defense, and get stops. That's at the end of the day, that's what's going to work. That's what's going to win. That's what's going to beat good teams. As you see, we got back in that game. But we kind of, as we cut it to 8 or 9, we couldn't get over the hump. And in maybe a series of 3 or 4 possessions, it ballooned back up to 15. And that's just kind of how it goes when guys get tired. We start to shuffle guys in and out of the lineup. Guys that is not accustomed to playing this way, is not conducive to their skill set to play that way. We kind of get exposed. So it's every now and again you'll see it. We'll play that way, but that's not something that we're quite looking at doing a full game or doing consistently. No.
Kind of like a rotational thing. You want to tire players out throughout the full 40 minutes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, when you look at this week upcoming, Wheeling and then West Liberty on Saturday, 2 more road games for your club. What are you looking at from your team? What are your expectations? I mean, you just came off a 4-game winning streak, though you lost on Saturday. But what do you see from your team, and where's your mindset with this team heading into these next 2 games?
Well, as coaches, we can look ahead, but as talking to the players and and kind of game planning with them, we never look ahead with them. as far as this next game go against Wheeling, we're looking to get back on track. And what are we expecting? We're expecting to win. We're expecting to go out and play really good defense and get some stops. They have two or three really good individual scores on their team, ball players, and they're developing into a really good team. So they're good. I mean, they're good. They're one of the top teams in the conference after being picked last. I think they're top 4 or 5, so they're good, really good team. They got a couple of Maryland kids on their team who's who's getting it done. So they're good. We expect to play better defense, a lot better defense than we played this past weekend. And we're expecting this to be a really good game on the road. We're used to playing on the road now. We're accustomed to it, so we're not making any excuses. We're not going in there for any moral victories. We're going in there to get the win, and we expect to get the win. We've scouted this team. We've watched a lot of film on this team, and we feel like we know what to expect. Now we got to go out there and take care of business.
Well, Coach, thank you for taking the time here on the Bobcast. Best of luck to you and the team this week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next up here on the Bobcast is the women's basketball team, and I'm here with head coach CARRIE Saunders. Coach, this past week losses to Notre Dame and Urbana. Notre Dame game coming down at Allegheny College of Maryland. Urbana, that game on the road. And 2 more MEC matchups this week on the road at Wheeling on Wednesday, West Liberty on Saturday. So just to start off, just your overall thoughts from both the games this week.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we played really well, especially on Wednesday against a team that's tied for first in the conference. To come out and have a showing like that on Wednesday was really great. I think it shows us that we can compete with a lot of the teams in the MEC. We've just got to be able to withstand their runs and their changes to us and be able to come out on top. But really proud of our performance on Wednesday and Saturday as well. I mean, if you look at the box score, it's a complete equal game except for free throws. We lost by 15 points. They scored 15 points on the free throw line. We scored 3 points on the free throw line. If that equals out and we get a few more stops here and there, I think that's a different game too. But for overall, for how we played this week, heading into a week where I think we can get a win here, I'm pleased.
And I know you touched on it, that Notre Dame game on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. That was a Falcons team near the top of the conference standings. And I know the goal obviously is to win games. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the cliche saying is there's no moral victories. But mm-hmm. when you take a step back from that game and you had the lead at half, and you had the lead as late as about halfway through the third quarter in that game. Mm-hmm. What does that game really say about the potential of this team and what this team can accomplish?
Yeah, I think it was eye-opening for some of our players because, we went and talked after that game and talked to a few of our players. I think foul trouble hurt us as well. We had a kid sitting on the bench in foul trouble in the third quarter when they went to press us, and they can't really press us when she's in. So I think that kind of opens our eyes and opened our players' eyes to how important their roles are on the team. There's no moral victory at all, but, when we spoke after that game, we're excited for the second time around when we get to see them again, because I think we do match up well against them, and that's what I told our team is that this is a team that we can get. Even though they're at the top, I think this is a team that matches up against us extremely well. And to have kids perform, well, that's what we need. We need 3 or 4 kids at least in double digits every single night, and that's what we've been getting. So, yeah, I am pleased with our performance. That's a game definitely that I feel like we could have won. There was a stretch in there where a lot of calls didn't go our way, and I think we stayed on the defensive side of the floor for like 3 or 4 possessions in a row and just gave them 6 points. It opens our eyes, it opens our kids' eyes to how important their role is, that they just can't go in. They have a role to do, and they've got to actually do it every single night. So I think that opened, that game was good because it opened the eyes of some of our kids about how important they are.
Amanda Emery is one of the leaders on this team, mm-hmm. of course, and on a pretty good run these last couple of games, last 4 to be exact. She's averaging a double-double, 21 mm-hmm. and 10. I know a lot of that is that 2020 game she had against Salem
mm-hmm.
A little over a week ago. But, I mean, this week, 22 on Wednesday against Notre Dame, 19 against Urbana. She played all 40 minutes against Urbana as well. She's a very durable player we've seen throughout this year. What's allowing her? I know a lot of talking to some coaches this year, they don't like to talk about the jump from division this year. But it looks like her game really hasn't missed a beat, and if anything has improved this year. What's allowing her to have that success?
Well, honestly, I think Amanda and I joked about it a few days ago about the jump to D2, and she was like, yeah, there's just no post players in D2. Like true back to the basket, like feed the ball inside post players, or at least they're not as it's not as common as it is in D3. Like everyone has a post player that they feed the ball to. And, we're playing a lot of, when we talk about scouting report, we're like, hey, this team is going to feel like it's all guards. Everyone can dribble. Everyone's a little quick. And we're a team that pounds the ball inside. And our identity can't change just because we went from D3 to D2. If we have a kid like that can score. So, we've done different things defensively to help her keep up with those quicker matchups. But at the end of the day, like Amanda can score, and she's tough as nails. She's physical. She's like a brick wall. No one really wants to guard her.
Right.
So, we've got to keep going to her. And, that's what we tell our team, every single time is like, we've got to focus on getting the ball inside. And if they try and do something, which I think Urbana did a really good job of not letting her gain position, but she still scores 19. And that's kind of the great thing about her is, yeah, she's incredibly durable, but she's also got that mindset like my other seniors do is like, it's senior year. I just want to play. Every time she looks winded, I'm like, you good? She's like, yep. I'm good. And she's that type of kid that's smart. I mean, she can play 40 minutes a game and knock on wood, her fouls are, she's staying out of foul trouble for the most part. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about her. She's an incredible player for us.
Another player that's been incredible this year, go from a senior to a first year, Sierra Thomas. Since being put in the starting lineup, she's played 7 games as a starter now, 11 points per game, 2 assists per game as well, and has scored in double figures 5 of the 7 games that she's been in the starting 5. She's been there a little over a month. I guess my question is, how important is this impact for your offense? But I guess also, did you see this? Maybe down the line you maybe could see this from Sierra, but did you expect such an immediate impact from her just a few games into her career here?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, yes, because when we recruited her, we knew that she had that potential and she could give us big minutes. I think with Kayla Wilson going down early in the season, that's really what gave Sierra this opportunity.
Right.
Because before Kayla went down, Cece was coming off the bench. Kayla was getting more minutes, and then Kayla got hurt really, really early in the year, and we're trying to get her back into the groove. But, yeah, I mean, from recruiting Cece, we knew that if, we got her, she would play an important role because of the way that she can handle the ball. Now, we've been on her like crazy about her turnovers and, some of her decision-making, but a lot of that is because she is a freshman. But the thing about her is she's extremely coachable. I could probably say to her, I don't want you to shoot this entire game. I just want you to pass, and she'd probably do it. So, yeah, she's been coming up really big for us, especially with Kayla's injury. She has come up huge. I mean, it gives a little bit of pressure off of Diggs having someone else there that gravitates towards the ball. And I think there's even opportunities where she could give it up to Diggs, but she's so used to the way that, she was always that go-to ball handler, in high school and, previously before she came to me. And I like that about her, that she is a little fearless. And a lot of it is just teaching moments for her. And these close games and these big games are perfect for her as a freshman because she's getting so much experience. So by the time she's a sophomore, and a junior and a senior, she's just going to develop and be really, really incredible for us. So I'm happy, about her performance. She's brought us huge minutes. I mean, on Saturday she was 5 for 5 from the 3-point line.
Right.
Can't really. She's a freshman. That's pretty incredible. So yeah, she's doing really, really great for us. And we expect her to continue to grow into the role that we need her to be.
Well into conference play, 8 games in. Record is 1-7, but I mean a couple bounces the other way. You get a couple more wins on that record. So when you look through the first 8 games of MEC play and you've seen a bunch of teams so far.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see your team and how they stack up against the other teams in this conference? Because, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
a couple bounces of the ball the other
Mm-hmm.
way, and things could go differently.
Yeah, I mean, I still feel like the only two teams that we didn't compete or, we got really beat by was Glenville and Charleston. That's it. Like, we were in there with Concord if we didn't have an awful, one quarter of that game, which was a third quarter. We just lost by 15 to a team that's middle, upper to middle of the pack. We lost by 9 on Saturday or less than that to, a team that's tied for first. I still feel like we're a playoff team. We've been on the road. We've played every single top team in this conference so far. We've played one team that's at the bottom of the conference. So yeah, I mean, I still feel like we're a playoff team. I can't reiterate enough that we haven't even played a home game.
Yep.
So that's kind of, I talked to our girls after that game on Saturday, and I'm like, do you guys, like, how do you feel? And they all still feel the same way, like that we are a playoff team. We've just had a really bad run here, and like, who comes in first year of the playoffs or first year of D2 and plays every single top team in the conference back to back to back to back, and they're all on the road.
Right.
So we're looking forward to February, and we're also looking forward to getting some wins. But we've got to fight, and we've got to earn them. Nothing's going to be handed to us because anyone can beat anyone on any given night in this conference, and that's something that we're learning as well too. So we still strongly believe that we can fight for playoffs and that we're a playoff team.
A couple more games this week: Wednesday at Wheeling, and then Saturday at West Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
What are you expecting from these two games this upcoming week?
I'm expecting us to just have some fire in us. We talked about that after the game on Saturday, is like what fires us up, what motivates us, and how can we do that? Like, who can light a fire in us when we cut it to 4, when we're up by 10, or we're like, who motivates us? So that's what we're looking for this week, is just finding that fire within us. So that's something that I'm looking for from a team standpoint, but then also to just continue to go out and compete and play our game. Like I said, anyone can beat anyone on any given night, and the conference has proven that. So why can't it be us? And everyone kind of doesn't take us seriously right now, and I think this is our time to prove who we are with these games coming up. So that's what we're looking to do.
Well, Coach, best of luck to you and the girls this week, and looking forward to talking to you the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Next up on the Bobcast, presented by the Bobcat Sports Network, we shift to track and field, and I'm sitting here with head coach Shane Brookshire. Coach, only one meet under your belt so far this season, the Marty Pushkin Classic back in the beginning of December. But obviously I have some training going on during the weeks off. Back in action this weekend, Friday and Saturday, at Susquehanna University, the Orange and Maroon Classic. But this last series of weeks since the first meet of the year, what's the training been like for your athletes over this time to keep them sharp?
Well, I gave them simple workouts to do over winter break. That way they wouldn't feel like they're daunting tasks throughout the winter. And thankfully we had great weather throughout this whole state, so that there was really no reason for them not to do their workouts. I know on the distance side, a lot of them came back in looking sharp and ready to race. I mean, I wish we would have scheduled a meet for this past Saturday because they were looking good. I saw on the sprint side, I mean, we're good, we're strong, and looking to get back into it and knock a little bit of rust off from not racing for so long. And throws is looking great. They've had some great throws over the last week or so, and same with the jumps. Jumps are strong as well. So I think coming in without having to meet right away is good, because it can help ease back into the training and ease back into getting ready to race. But I mean, I wish on the distance side we would have raced this past weekend.
Right. When you have this kind of layoff, again, you had your only meet of the year, I believe December 7th it was, at West Virginia University, and now getting back into it, it's going to be about a month and a half without competition. What kind of challenges, if any, really, does that kind of layoff from competition present to your team?
Well, the biggest challenge is the fact that we cannot practice as a team, have official team practice for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And so that whole time period, 4.5 weeks, is really like the heart of our season, because if you don't do anything as an athlete during that time or don't do enough, like, you lose most of what you gain throughout the fall. And so, I mean, you have to trust your athletes that they're going to put in the work. But I said, like, the biggest challenge is the fact that if they decide not to do anything over winter break, and then, I mean, they've pretty much wasted their whole fall season. Like we spend the whole rest of the spring just trying to build back up. Like, thankfully, like, from what I could tell, like, most of our athletes, like, got in the work and should be ready to go, like, come this Saturday. And I think we're still going to be running some great performances. I hope that how well we did at Marty Pushkin was motivating for these athletes, like, to continue to put in the work that they have done throughout the fall. But yeah, like, that biggest challenge is just the fact that that whole 4.5 weeks is the heart of our season, and it kind of sucks that we can't do anything during that time. But like I said, you just gotta trust your athletes and hope that they trust the process.
You brought up the Marty Pushkin back beginning of December, the lone meet this season, as I mentioned, and you guys had a lot of success that day. 5 victories on the men's side. Women's side put up 5 runner-up finishes that day as well. Now you're heading into the meat of this schedule, really, this whole upcoming semester, the indoor portion and the outdoor portion. The schedule really starts to pick up. When you take what you saw from your team last month, the only meet this year, what does that show about what this team can do for you guys this season, both with the indoor portion right now and then when you start to transition later in the year and head towards the outdoor events?
Oh, this is one of the most talented teams I've gotten to work with over the last several years. And so, I mean, I'm excited to watch them compete, like, get back into it. Seeing how well they performed at Marty Pushkin, like, on the sprint side, I mean, we had several individuals that if they didn't run their personal best, then they ran like their second or third best time ever. And to start a season off like that is amazing. And so, from my standpoint, like, I mean, I hope, like, if we start fast, we're going to get faster. And so, like, if the athletes did the work over winter break, like, then they're definitely going to be running faster come the Mountain East Indoor Championships. And so, like, seeing those performances, like, it's encouraging because it shows that the training's working. It shows that the strength training that we're doing is working. Like, every little thing, like, came together, and, like, everybody had a great day that day. Like, there was hardly anybody that didn't perform up to par. And so, like I said, I mean, it's got to be a motivating factor for the athletes. And from a coaching standpoint, it just means that we can go and continue our process of what we had planned out, like, from the beginning. And so we can stick to the game plan. Like, we don't have to go back and rewrite anything, like, make adjustments. Like I feel like from the coaching staff, like, we've just felt that we can just continue on what we've been building, and that's just going to lead to much better times.
In that meet at Marty Pushkin, we saw good performance from Braxton Clark, got a win, couple top 5 finishes. But he's someone we talked about a lot on the Bobcast throughout this season. Someone I want to talk about is John Kearns, a senior. 2 wins at that meet, the shot put and the weight throw. What does he bring to the table, and what allows him to be such a successful part of your team?
Well, he's successful because he's a student of the sport. Like, he understands everything that goes into the throwing events. So, like, what he needs to do, what the other throwers need to do, like, he's been kind of like a student coach, like athlete coach, and because he is really like the one who's been helping these athletes grow. And like, the throwers have been helping each other out. Like, I mean, we're short staffed right now, so I've got limited experience in it. So, like, he's stepped up as not just like a leader on the team, but like somebody that I can count on to kind of help out with the throws program and help all the younger throwers get better. And I mean, the success for the throws, like, is on them. Like, they've done an amazing job. Like, John, like, so, like, he's a senior. He's had great accomplishments ever since he got here. Like, and he's still improving too. Like, he threw a personal best in the shot put at the very first meet. Like, that's phenomenal for a senior to throw a PR by almost a full meter in the shot. Like, with the kind of level of athlete he is, I mean, it shows that like what he's been working on, like what we've been doing in the weight room, is like working. I mean, I think he's going to have his best year, his senior year, and like there's been very like early indicators like the Marty Pushkin meet showing that he's going to have such a great year to cap off his career here at Frostburg.
And all right back at it this weekend, like we've talked about, the SU Orange and Maroon Classic at Susquehanna University. Friday and Saturday, 2-day meet for you guys. What are you looking at, or what are you looking for from your team this weekend?
We're looking to get some qualifying times for the Liberty kickoff meet the following week.
Sure.
And so Liberty's going to be our big meet, like one of our big meets this indoor season. So we got to knock some rust off from not racing for 5 weeks, 6 weeks. So that's what the Susquehanna meet is for us, is to knock the rust off, get back into the racing groove, and try to hit some qualifying times to get us to Liberty, to where we're going to hopefully run even faster times with greater competition.
All right, well, Coach, thanks for joining us again here on the Bobcast. Best of luck to you guys this weekend.
Thank you.